It's not Drew. It's not even Katie. It's Lauryn Hill.
And the best new artist is Lauryn Hill.
I want to thank you people for being so supportive. I love you very much. God bless you. Stay positive. Stay strong. One love, y'all.
Lauryn Hill may go down as the greatest R&B artist of all time. From her work as a solo artist to the music industry, to her being a member of one of the most iconic hip-hop groups of the 90s, and finally her revolutionary debut album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which continues to inspire countless artists around the globe, as well as being a consistent repository for some of pop culture's most sampled records. And deservingly so. It's an album that stands the test of time and is widely regarded as the perfect debut album. Most recently, it placed number 1 in Apple Music's 100 Best Albums list, to the approval of most of the general online public. For as trailblazing as the album and Lauryn Hill herself is, it remains to be the only LP properly released by the New Jersey artist. And there's a lot of reasons as to why that is. She and the album itself were embroiled in controversy throughout the making, release, and celebration of The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The year is 1996. The Fugees, consisting of Wyclef Jean, Pras Michel, and Lauryn Hill, just released their sophomore LP, The Score. The Score wouldn't only top the US Billboard 200, but it eventually be certified 7 times platinum by the RIAA. 4 singles would come out in the rollout of the LP, including Killing Me Softly, Ready or Not, No Woman No Cry, and the now legendary Fuji La, being the first single off the album. The Score would win Best Rap Album at the 1997 Grammy Awards. So, with the group finally finding their rhythm both commercially and critically, the sky was surely the limit for the trio, right? Given their newfound success, the Fugees began touring the album the same year, and on that tour, the 21-year-old Lauryn Hill met Rohan Marley, son of the ever-so-iconic Bob Marley. The two eventually formed a close relationship while on tour, leading to Hill becoming pregnant with his child. While not the best situation, especially at the start of your career, it's not nearly as bad as the trio showing signs of falling apart. The Fugees revisited the DNA of what made Blunted on Reality what it was when developing The Score, but a choice was made to take a more relaxed and intimate approach for the LP. And this is where the cracks for the group started to really show. Hill had wanted to take a more neo-soul approach when it comes to their music, and both Pras Michel and Wyclef Jean wanted to take their music to a more hip-hop-centric sound. So with a pregnancy and creative differences in the air, the group broke up in 1997.
If I'd had it my way, I would have been in the group forever. But the interesting thing about entertainment is that when you're struggling, everybody goes in with the same goals. But somewhere along the success area, you start to look at everyone around you and go, wait a minute, where are you going? Where are you headed? Because I'm going this way. Wait, what happened? I thought we were all on the... Sometimes success can do that. Sometimes it really illuminates, creative differences, spiritual differences, emotional differences.
Pras and Wyclef would go on to start their careers as solo artists, and Hill would take time off due to the obvious situation and a case of writer's block. However, the pregnancy led Hill to have a new creative drive, leading her to write over 30 songs in this time.
Before I knew I had all these songs and this direction and this sound that I really wanted to communicate to the world, the best way for me to do it was to do it solo because it was extremely personal.
Through 1997, she'd go on to work with and write for multiple artists, such as CeCe Winans, Aretha Franklin, and Whitney Houston. These life experiences and collaborations would set the bedrock for the makings of her solo debut album. In the early stages of development, Fugees member Wyclef Jean not only proposed to produce the album, but he vehemently insisted in doing so. See, Lauryn and Wyclef have had a very interesting past together. From the recountings from Pras himself, their relationship, both professionally and romantically, were intense. One of the many reasons why the Fugees broke up. Ultimately, she firmly declined, stating that she had her own vision for the project. Recording for the LP began in late 1997 in New York City. The project would be supported by the musical collective known as Newark. Columbia Records even considered bringing RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan to help produce the album, but through and through, Hill was adamant about creating the album herself, saying, "Hey, it's my album. Who can tell my story better than me?" Production would eventually be moved to Bob Marley's Tuff Gong Studios in Kingston, Jamaica, where the bulk of the record would actually be made. The album would be completed in June of 1998, titled The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The record would release in August 1998 and debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling well over 422,000 copies in its first week, breaking a record for first week sales by a female artist. In the rollout of the album, 3 hit singles were released in Doo Wop, X Factor, and Everything is Everything. Not only was it a commercial success, it received widespread critical acclaim, earning 10 nominations at the 41st Grammys, winning 5 awards including Best New Artist and Album of the Year.
The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill.
I love you all, my family. God bless you, everybody. Stay positive. Know that God is great and He conquers all. Thank you.
Not only showing that she can hang by herself, but also showing up Wyclef, as who was the best between them when left to their own devices. That last line leading to a lot of controversy around her and the album. Hill was adamant on her debut album being strictly her story and her body of work, so it was crucial that it was credited to only Hill herself, something her label was very much pushing for. The album was released as only crediting Hill for producing, writing, and arranging all of the music except for one track, hammering home the idea of her being a musical prodigy. Hill was sued by 4 men from the New York Collective in 1998, stating that they should have been credited for the work they did on the record. And even with her label, Columbia, urging her to settle, she was very firm on not doing so, wanting the people around her and the general public to know that she just wasn't a pretty face with a pretty voice. Eventually, she settled out of court, paying the producers $5 million in 2001. While finally over with, this had mentally scarred her, seeing it as a stain on her legacy and a weak point of who she is as an artist. And in trying to find a safe space, she'd eventually get that through Brother Anthony. While personally great for Hill, her friends and those close around her described the man as possessive, aggressive, and crooked, a description that is shared by Fuji's member Praz, with many believing that he drove a wedge between Hill and the rest of the outside world, telling her what to do, what to think, and how to use her money, believing that all he saw in Hill was, quote, a cash cow. This leads to the infamous MTV Unplugged 2.0 performance by Hill in July of 2001, presented as a follow-up to her debut album. The project took a sharp turn from the neo-soul hip-hop nucleus that made Miseducation what it was, turning to a more gospel and folk-centered record. She'd written all of the songs, and an acoustic guitar would be the sole instrument on the album. It was received with mixed reviews across all outlets, with one industry insider saying that, quote, for a lesser artist, it would have never been released. One even said, quote, I feel like jumping out of a window having listened to it. Unplugged sold 122,000 copies in its first week, a very far cry from the 422,000 that Miseducation did. While the album has since been revisited to much more positive reviews, the initial reaction to Hill's legitimate solo album, as well as the New York debacle, broke Hill creatively and emotionally. Following the events, she'd begin work on her next album, flying in musicians to help with the project, albeit through very strange circumstances, with some having to sign away any credits being placed on the album, and others stating that she wouldn't even compensate anyone that would work on it either, aka doing the work for free.
I'm here to do the best that I can. I'm here to improve. I'm here to get better. Everybody wants perfect art, right?
Everybody wants perfect art.
But then they don't want you to be a perfectionist. I'm here to honor God with my gift, not you.
All of this was reported in 2003, and as of May 2024, that next album has yet to be released. Lauryn Hill will go down in the annals of music as being an innovative and creative figurehead, sparking the minds of artists in the years following the release of Miseducation. While she may not have wanted her career to be as negative and mentally draining as it was, she'd achieved what so few have done, the superstardom of a solo artist whose work is critically and commercially celebrated, crossing genres, decades, and generations. She'd also experienced the baggage in it as well, the controversies, differences, and egomaniacal tendencies that emerge when you're labeled as the musical prodigy of your generation, all before the age of 25. There is still some hope that that once miseducated Lauryn Hill is still in there, and that elusive next album is still in the works and is surely getting those final touches. But who really knows but Miss Lauryn Hill herself? For her, it's her world, and we are just living in it.
I can't give anyone anything more. You know, God showed me I can sing songs about love. I can sing songs about me, and those people will enjoy those songs. But when they're desperately, desperately in need of help, what will my music do? How will it help them? Will it redeem them? Will it save them? Will it fight that battle for them? You know, it's just a song.